The slap cracked through the ballroom like a gunshot. Seyi's face turned sideways. 300 guests went silent as Faith Williams lifted her diamond bracelet above the cleaner's trolley. "Thief!" she screamed. "This gutter rat came here to rob people whose shoes cost more than his entire bloodline." 2 security men seized Seyi's arms. Across the marble floor, Zara pushed through the crowd. "Check the cameras," she shouted. "That bracelet was planted." Faith spun around and pointed at her. "Of course you will defend him. Poverty always recognizes its relatives. Kneel down, both of you, or I will make sure no hotel in Lagos employs you again." Seyi's jaw tightened, but he did not beg. He only stared towards the entrance as the tall doors opened. Chief Marcus George walked in, wearing an ivory agbada. His glass slipped from his hand. It shattered. Then he looked at the guards holding the cleaner and said, very quietly, "Remove your hands from my son, before we uncover why a billionaire's heir was carrying a mop, and the betrayal hiding inside his father's hotel. Comment your city and local time below. Subscribe now, because the truth Zara uncovered that night was far more shocking than Seyi's identity. 45 days earlier, the same ballroom had been empty. No chandeliers blazing, no cameras, no wealthy guests squeezing their faces in shock. Only the soft hum of the air conditioning and the sound of Chief Marcus George tapping one finger against a polished mahogany table. It was 8:13 in the morning on Monday, the 3rd of February. Across from him sat his only son. Seyi George had returned to Lagos 2 nights earlier after nearly 9 years in Cape Town. At 32, he had the calm face of a man who had spent too long negotiating with people twice his age. His charcoal suit was simple, but nothing about it was cheap. Even the way he sat showed a life without crowded buses, leaking roofs or landlords knocking before sunrise. Marcus watched him for a long moment. "You have been home for 2 days," he said. "You have greeted your aunties. You have eaten your mother's favorite soup. You have even inspected the new tower at Eco Atlantic. Yet you have not asked why I called you back." Seyi crossed one ankle over the other. "You said the group needed me in Lagos. The group does need you." Marcus leaned forward. "But that is not the only thing." Seyi sighed before his father finished. "Daddy, please. If this is another conversation about marriage, let us save our strength." Marcus frowned. "I am 64 years old. I built George Meridian Group from one rented office with 3 plastic chairs. I am not begging you to produce a grandson before breakfast. I am asking you to stop behaving as if every woman in Nigeria is coming to collect your surname." Seyi gave a humorless laugh. "The last one leaked my private messages to a gossip blog after I refused to buy her a house in Clifton. The one before her? She asked how soon I would inherit your voting shares. And the one before that?" Seyi looked away. Marcus nodded head slowly. "Exactly. One woman hurt you. Another disappointed you. Now you have carried suspicion on your head like a crown." Seyi stood and walked towards the glass wall overlooking Victoria Island. Below, Lagos was already moving with the impatient energy of a city that never asked whether anybody was ready. Cars pressed against one another. Horns rose from Amadou Bello Way. A yellow Danfo forced itself between 2 black SUVs. "I want to know who a woman is before money enters the room," Seyi said. Marcus remained seated. "And how do you plan to achieve this miracle?" Seyi turned. "By removing the money." The old man's eyes narrowed. Seyi placed a thin folder on the table. Inside was a proposal. 45 days, 1 operational role. No executive privileges, no private driver, no public introduction. He would enter the Meridian Crest Hotel as Seyi David, a newly recruited cleaner attached to the outsourced night team. Marcus read the first page twice. Then he looked up. You want to disguise yourself as a cleaner to find a wife. To understand people. No, let us call a goat a goat. You want to examine women without allowing them to examine you. Seyi's face hardened. I will not force anybody to love me, but you will hide the biggest fact about your life. I will reveal it before anything serious happens. Marcus closed the folder. That sentence has destroyed many homes. Silence entered the room. For a few seconds, only the city spoke through the glass. Then Marcus opened the folder again. There is one reason I will consider this, he said. Seyi waited. The Meridian Crest has passed every formal audit for 3 years. Yet, staff turnover among outsourced workers has reached 41%. Injury complaints are rising, but the written reports are almost clean. Clean reports in a dirty system are more dangerous than dirty reports. He pushed the folder back. You will not go there only to search for a good woman. You will observe the operation. The chair of the audit committee will know. Group Human Resources will know. I will know. Nobody else. Seyi nodded. Marcus raised one finger. You will use your legal name. No forged records. No illegal access. No playing policeman. If you see wrongdoing, you document it and send it through the agreed channel. I understand. No, my son, you do not understand. Marcus rose slowly. You may not discover the kind of wife you want. You may discover the kind of man you are. 5 days later, Seyi stood outside a low block of rooms in Yaba with one medium-sized travel bag. His new room had cream walls, one iron bed, a narrow wardrobe and a ceiling fan that made a clicking sound every 7th turn. The bathroom tap coughed brown water for 4 seconds before running clear. The landlord had asked for 6 months in advance. Seyi paid through the ordinary payroll account created for his assignment, not from his personal funds. His salary would be the same as other new outsourced cleaners. After deductions, it came to 98,460 naira. When the payroll officer mentioned the figure, Seyi had first assumed she meant weekly pay. She did not. By 5:20 that evening, he was inside a crowded BRT bus heading towards Victoria Island. A man's elbow pressed against his ribs. A woman carrying 2 bags of frozen chicken complained that the air conditioning was not working. Somebody at the back argued loudly over a phone call. The bus stopped for 12 minutes near Costain because of a broken truck. Seyi checked the time 3 times. By the time he reached the staff gate of the Meridian Crest, sweat had gathered beneath the collar of his pale shirt. A security officer pointed to a narrow entrance beside the loading bay. Staff contractors that side. I was told to report to Human Resources. The man did not look up from his register. Contract staff Human Resources is basement 2. Use the service stairs. Do not enter the guest lobby. Seyi glanced through the glass doors. The main lobby shone under warm lights. Brass fittings. White orchids. Quiet music. A concierge smiled as he welcomed a couple dragging silver suitcases. Between that lobby and the service entrance stood only one wall. It felt wider than Lagos Lagoon. Basement 2 smelled of detergent, damp cloth, and hot metal. 42 workers sat on plastic chairs for the evening briefing. Some wore teal uniforms. Others wore brown kitchen overalls. A few still had supermarket bags at their feet because they had come straight from another job. At exactly 6:02, Wale Johnson entered. He was 47, broad across the shoulders, and dressed in a dark charcoal suit. His tie was olive green. His staff card hung from a red cord. Everybody stood. Sit, he said. Nobody sat until he reached the front. Wale opened a clipboard. Meridian Crest is not your family compound. It is a 5-star property. Guests pay for silence, cleanliness, and order. They are not paying to hear your problems. His eyes traveled across the room and stopped on Seyi. You, new cleaner, stand. Seyi stood. Name? Seyi David. Where did you work before? A serviced apartment company in Cape Town. A few workers looked at him. Whale gave a small laugh. Cape Town. So you have come from abroad to hold mop in Lagos. Some people lowered their eyes. Seyi said nothing. Whale stepped closer and pinched the sleeve of his new uniform between two fingers. Your uniform is grey because nobody is supposed to notice you. When a guest passes, move. When a manager passes, move faster. If anybody complains that you were rude, I will not investigate your village history before removing you. He released the sleeve. Do you understand? Yes, sir. Good. Poverty is already heavy. Do not add stubbornness to it. A woman sitting near the aisle shifted in her chair. She was tall, with tired but steady eyes. Her name badge read Halima Bello. She looked at Seyi once, then looked away. After the briefing, she led him to the equipment store. Take 2 blue cloths for glass, 2 yellow cloths for tables, and 1 red cloth for toilet areas, she said. Do not mix them. Whaler will shout as if you killed somebody. Seyi picked up a box of gloves. It was empty. Where are the gloves? Halima opened her handbag and brought out a small packet. Use these. You bought them yourself? She shrugged. My brother, I am managing, but the safety checklist says gloves are issued every shift. Halima looked towards the door. The checklist says many things. She gave him 2 pairs. Keep one, hide one. Seyi stared at her. Halima smiled without joy. You are new. Your eyes are still fresh. This place will teach them to become tired. His first assignment was the 4th floor conference corridor. The trolley was heavier than it looked. The left wheel pulled sideways. The bucket handle cut into his palm. Twice he almost struck the cream wall while turning. At 8:41, he poured too much water near the entrance of a meeting room. The mop slipped. The bucket tilted. Water spread across the marble. A junior events manager came out at once. What is wrong with you? She snapped. Can you not see that guests are inside? I am sorry, I will clean it now. You will clean the whole corridor again, from lift to lift. I have already cleaned the other side. She stared at him. Did I ask for your autobiography? Clean it. The meeting ended at 9:16. Guests stepped around him while he worked. One man dropped a used tissue beside the trolley, although a bin stood less than 2 meters away. Seyi bent and picked it up. His back had begun to ache. When the last guest left, a woman in a mustard blouse and royal blue trousers came from the linen office, carrying a stack of forms. She stopped. You are holding that mop wrongly, she said. Seyi looked up. She set the forms on a side table and adjusted the handle. If you grip it there, your shoulder will punish you tomorrow. Thank you. She looked at his bare hands. Where are your gloves? In my pocket. Then why are they in your pocket? I was trying to finish quickly. She held out her hand. Bring them. He obeyed. She waited until he wore them. My name is Zara Okoro, line and control and lost property. Seyi David, I know. Halima told me the new man from abroad nearly drowned conference room 4. Despite himself, Seyi smiled. Zara did not. She opened a small cabinet beneath the side table and brought out another sealed pair of gloves. Keep this one. Seyi studied her face. Why are you helping me? Zara's eyebrows rose. Because chemical water is touching your skin. No, I know what you mean. She handed him the gloves. Do not confuse pity with respect. Pity looks down. Respect stands beside you. Then she picked up her forms and walked away. Seyi watched her until she disappeared through the service door. For the first time since the assignment began, he forgot that he was supposed to be observing people. He had become the one being observed. By the end of his first week, Seyi had learned that 5-star comfort was built on invisible backs. The guests saw polished floors. He saw Halima kneeling at 1. 6 in the morning because the machine had broken again. The guests saw folded towels arranged like white flowers. He saw 2 laundry workers lifting wet sheets with wrists wrapped in cheap bandages. The guests saw smiling staff at breakfast. He saw cleaners eating jollof rice on the service staircase because the main staff canteen was reserved for direct employees. The rule was not written anywhere. It did not need to be. At 11:30 every night, the contractor workers opened plastic containers beside the loading bay. At the same time, permanent staff ate in a cooled room with proper chairs, drinking water, and a television mounted on the wall. On Seyi's 6th shift, he carried his food towards the canteen entrance. A supervisor blocked him. Contract staff eat downstairs. There are empty tables here. The supervisor looked at his uniform. There are empty suites upstairs too. Will you go and sleep there? Seyi felt heat rise in his chest. He could have ended the exchange with one phone call. One sentence, one name. Instead, he turned back. Zara was sitting on the staircase with a bowl of rice balanced on her knees. She shifted to create space. "You nearly entered paradise," she said. "I did not know food also has employment status. In this hotel, even water knows who signed a direct contract." He sat beside her. For a moment, they ate in silence. Then Seyi noticed she had divided her portion into 2 containers. "Are you saving that for later?" "For my mother. She works night too. She no longer works." Zara's voice changed slightly. "She cleaned at a private clinic for 11 years. They used to buy strong chemicals in unlabeled bottles because they were cheaper. No proper masks, no extractor fan. Now her lungs behave as if she smokes 10 packets of cigarettes every day, yet she has never smoked once." Seyi put down his spoon. "Did the clinic pay compensation?" Zara laughed once. "They said she could not prove where the damage came from. They even claimed she was a casual worker, though she cleaned the same building every weekday for 11 years. That is wrong." "Yes." She covered the 2nd container. "Wrong things do not become right because rich people pronounce them in air-conditioned offices." The words stayed with him. That same night, Seyi opened the secure reporting application on the basic phone issued for the audit. He recorded the glove shortage, the separate eating arrangements, the broken floor machine, and the unpaid extra hour Halima had worked. He hesitated before pressing send. The complaints felt small beside the balance sheets he usually reviewed. A pair of gloves, a chair, 1 hour. Then he remembered Halima saying that the checklist contained many things. He sent the report. 3 days later, Faith Williams arrived at the hotel. Everybody knew she was coming before her convoy reached the gate. Fresh flowers appeared in the lobby. A broken light fitting that had remained dark for 6 weeks was replaced within 30 minutes. Whale ordered workers to hide the cracked buckets and bring out equipment that was normally locked in his office. At 2:15 in the afternoon, 12 cleaners were told to stop working and report to the ballroom. Seyi was among them. Faith stood beneath a banner that read, "Every hand deserves respect." She wore a crimson suit, cut so sharply that even the folds looked disciplined. A thin gold chain rested at her throat. Her hair was arranged in a smooth bun. 2 camera operators moved around her while an assistant adjusted the light. On a long table stood 100 branded bags containing rice, beans, cooking oil, and soap. Faith smiled into the camera. "At the Faith Williams Foundation, we believe dignity must not depend on a job title. The people who clean our offices, wash our linen, and prepare our spaces deserve to be seen, celebrated, and supported." The director raised one hand. "Beautiful, Ma. Let us do one more." Workers, smile wider. Halima stood beside Seyi. Her right knee had been troubling her since morning. She shifted her weight. Faith noticed. You there, she said, still smiling. Stand properly. Sorry, Ma. My knee is paining me. Just for 2 minutes. I have been standing since 6. Faith's smile disappeared the moment the camera lowered. Madam, do you want us to carry you on our head? You were chosen to stand behind me, not to bring village sickness into the picture. Halima's eyes dropped. Seyi stepped forward. She can sit at the end. The arrangement will still work. Faith turned slowly. Her eyes moved from his face to his uniform. Who asked the mop to contribute? Nobody spoke. Faith walked closer. There is a shoe mark near that chair. Clean it. Seyi looked down. The floor was spotless. I cannot see any mark, Ma. She pointed at the marble. Are you blind as well as poor? The camera operator looked away. Whale moved towards Seyi. Clean it. Seyi collected a cloth and bent. Faith waited until he wiped the empty space. Then she smiled again as the camera light came on. Dignity, she said warmly, begins when we choose to see one another. The filming ended at 3:04. Workers were instructed to carry the bags to the service corridor for distribution. Seyi lifted 2. Before they reached the basement, Faith's assistant stopped them. Only 32 bags are staying. Return the rest to the van. Halima frowned. But Ma said the bags were for workers. They are needed for next week's event in Abuja. The same bags? The assistant's mouth tightened. Do not ask questions that cannot increase your salary. Seyi looked towards Faith. She was in the lobby taking photographs with the hotel manager. One of the cleaners quietly counted the bags going back. 68. That evening, Zara found Seyi in the equipment room, staring at a delivery sheet. You are squeezing your face, she said. Hope no problem? This form says 400 relief bags were supplied. Zara came closer. She read the document. Where did you get it? It was attached to the trolley. She took the paper from his hand. You should not carry documents that are not assigned to you. 400 bags were invoiced. Only 100 came. 68 left again. Zara glanced at the doorway. Lower your voice. Does this happen often? She studied him. You ask many questions for somebody who joined last week. Is that a crime? No. But in this place, curiosity can become unemployment before morning. She folded the delivery sheet and placed it back on the trolley. Do not steal evidence. Record what you are legally allowed to see. If you cross the line, the people doing wrong will use your mistake to bury their own. Seyi smiled faintly. You sound like a compliance officer. I studied accounting for 3 years. What happened? Life happened. She turned away. Seyi followed her into the corridor. You can finish. With what money? There are scholarships. Zara stopped and faced him. Scholarships are not rain. They do not fall because somebody mentions them. I only meant, I know what you meant. Her voice softened. My mother became ill. Rent did not become ill with her. School fees did not reduce because I was crying. So I paused. I am sorry. Do not be sorry. Just do not speak about poor people's options, as if options are sitting on a shelf, waiting for us to pick them. Then she walked away. Seyi stood alone beneath the fluorescent light. Again, she had corrected him without trying to wound him. Again, he felt seen in a way his expensive friends had never managed. But Zara's words also exposed something uncomfortable. Even while wearing a cleaner's uniform, he still spoke like a man whose doors had always opened. The next evening, the hotel hosted a pharmaceutical conference. At 10:47, after the guests had left, Zara entered meeting room 6 to count used table linen. Beneath the final chair, she found a cream envelope. It contained 387,000 naira in cash. Whale happened to pass the doorway as she counted it. He stepped inside and shut the door halfway. What is that? Lost property. He took the envelope from her and weighed it in his palm. No name. There is a company stamp inside. Whale checked. Then he smiled. These people spent over 20 million naira here today. They will not remember this small money. Zara held out her hand. Please return it, sir. I need to seal it and record the time. Whale stared at her hand. Do you know how much you earn? Yes, sir. This is nearly 3 months of your salary. God has dropped favor under a chair, and you are forming honesty. It is not mine. Whale lowered his voice. Take 50,000. Give me the rest. Nobody will know. Zara did not move. Seyi was polishing a brass rail outside. Through the narrow gap in the door, he could hear every word. Zara said, I will know. Whale's face changed. You think you are better than me? No, sir. Then stop acting holy. I am acting employed. Lost property must be entered with 2 witnesses. Whale pushed the envelope against her chest. Fine. Carry your righteousness. Let us see whether it will pay your mother's hospital bill. He left. Zara stood still for several seconds. Her fingers trembled. Then she called Halima and a security officer. They counted the money again. Zara sealed the envelope, wrote 10:47 p.m. on the form and signed across the tape. Seyi watched without speaking. When the process was complete, Zara looked at him. You were listening. I was working. You were listening while working. He did not deny it. Why did you refuse the money? Zara's expression sharpened. Why are you asking as if honesty is a strange disease? I wanted to understand. There, that thing again. What thing? The way you watch people as if you are marking an examination. Seyi's breath caught. Zara picked up the sealed envelope. Human beings are not questions on paper, Seyi. She walked towards the security office. He stood beside the brass rail, cloth still in his hand. The sentence followed him for the rest of the shift. At 2:20 in the morning, while others ate near the loading bay, he called the chair of the audit committee. I need the scope of this assignment widened, he said. Why? Because the operational problem is not only staff culture. There may be procurement and payroll fraud. Do you have evidence? Not yet. I have indicators. Then document them. Do not interfere. Seyi looked across the bay. Zara was helping Halima wrap her painful knee with an elastic bandage. I understand. But for the first time, he was not sure he did. 4 nights later, understanding came with a burning smell. It was 12:18 a.m. The laundry room was running behind because a wedding had used 311 napkins, 64 tablecloths, and more than 200 chair covers. Steam clouded the windows. Industrial dryers shook the floor. A new worker carried 2 unlabeled bottles towards the stain treatment sink. Halima saw him pour from both. Stop! She shouted. The liquids touched. A sharp yellow-white vapor rose at once. The worker dropped the bottles. Someone screamed. Halima rushed forward to pull him back, but the fumes caught her first. She coughed hard, stumbled and fell against a linen cart. People began running in different directions. One worker covered his nose with his shirt and moved towards her. Zara blocked him. No, do not enter. But Halima is inside. Open the emergency door. Switch off the machine from outside. Nobody goes back without protection. She grabbed the wall alarm and pressed it. Nothing happened. She pressed again. Still nothing. Seyi reached the doorway. Call emergency services, Zara said. Tell them chemical exposure, basement laundry, possible chlorine gas. Do not just say somebody fainted. Seyi dialed. Zara pulled her mustard scarf over her nose, stayed at the edge of the doorway, and used a long mop handle to hook the wheel of the linen cart. Halima's body had fallen partly against it. Zara dragged the cart towards the opening without stepping into the vapor. Seyi and 2 others pulled Halima clear. Her eyes were watering. Her breathing came in short, frightening sounds. Whale arrived 3 minutes later, What is all this noise? Chemical reaction, Zara said. The bottles had no labels. Halima inhaled the gas. Whale looked towards the corridor camera. Who activated the alarm? The alarm did not work. Who called outside emergency? I did, Seyi said. Whale turned on him. Who authorized you? A woman could not breathe. This is a hotel, not a public motor park. We have internal procedure. Zara stepped between them. Internal procedure did not label the bottles. Internal procedure did not give respirators. Internal procedure did not make the alarm work. Whale pointed at her. Mind how you speak to me. Then mind how people are kept alive under you. The corridor fell quiet. Even the dryers had stopped. Whale's face became hard. Everybody return to your station. No, Zara said. What? The area must remain closed until it is ventilated and inspected. You are now a safety engineer? No, sir. I can read the label that should have been on the bottle. The ambulance arrived at 12:31. Paramedics placed oxygen over Halima's face and moved her onto a stretcher. As they passed, her hand found Zara's wrist. My bag, she whispered. I have it. Do not let them remove anything. Zara understood. She took photographs of the bottles from the safe edge of the doorway. One had a torn supplier sticker. The other had only a handwritten letter. B. Whale saw her. Delete those pictures. No. You are photographing company property without permission. I am recording an injury scene. You want to lose your job? Zara looked at Halima disappearing into the lift. A job that requires me to erase how somebody nearly died is already lost. Whale's jaw moved. But there were too many witnesses. He said nothing more. At the hospital, Halima was admitted for respiratory observation. The contractor's representative arrived at 2:06 a.m. and spent 10 minutes asking whether she had asthma before asking how she felt. She has no asthma, Zara said. Are you her family? I am the person who was there. The representative filled half a form, then closed the file. The company will review whether the event qualifies for coverage. Qualifies, Seyi repeated. She was exposed while working. We must confirm whether correct procedure was followed. Seyi stared at him. The correct procedure was not available. The man shrugged. That is what the review will determine. He left before dawn. At 5:40, a billing officer brought an estimate for tests, oxygen, medication, and overnight monitoring. Zara read the figure twice. 263,900 naira. Halima's insurance card covered less than a quarter. I will handle it, Seyi said. Zara looked at him. With what? I have savings. You earn the same salary as the rest of us. I worked abroad before coming here. How much savings? Enough. Zara folded the estimate. No, she needs treatment. She will receive treatment. But nobody should accept a mysterious favor without understanding the rope tied to it. There is no rope. That is what people say when they are the ones holding it. Seyi felt irritation rise. I am trying to help, and I am asking you to be transparent. They stared at each other under the harsh hospital light. Finally, Seyi looked away. He could not explain where his money truly came from without ending the assignment. So, he did what wealthy people often did when they believed a good result excused a hidden method. He paid the hospital anonymously through the audit committee's emergency channel. At 7:12, the billing officer returned and said the deposit had been settled. Zara's first question was not, who should we thank? It was by whom. The officer checked the receipt, an institutional account. Which institution? I cannot disclose more than what is printed. Zara took the receipt. She turned to Seyi. You knew this would happen. He held her gaze. I hoped somebody responsible would act. That is not an answer. No. Her face closed. For the first time since they met, she walked away without correcting him. That silence disturbed him more than anger. Halima returned home after 2 days, but she did not return to work. The hospital advised 7 days of rest and a follow-up lung test. The contractor approved only 2 paid days. On the 3rd morning, Whale sent a message asking when she would resume. On the 4th, payroll deducted an absence penalty. When Zara showed Seyi the message, his first instinct was to call Marcus. He stopped himself. The audit committee had already opened a safety review, but procedure moved slowly, and Halima's rent did not. That was the first lesson the basement taught him about justice. Delay was not neutral. Delay usually favored the person who could afford to wait. Zara spent her break helping Halima fill an incident form. The official form had 3 pages. Whale had completed only half of the first page and described the event as employee dizziness during routine cleaning. Zara crossed out the sentence. "Write what happened," she said. "Chemical vapor after mixing 2 unlabeled products. Respiratory distress. Ambulance transfer." Halima hesitated. "If I write all this, they may remove me. If you do not write it, they can say it never happened. My daughter is in Polytechnic. I cannot lose this work." Zara softened. "I know." Halima rubbed her palms together. "Truth is expensive for poor people." Seyi stood near the doorway. That sentence entered him quietly. He had always praised courage as if courage were free. It was not. Sometimes courage cost transport money, rent, medicine, and the school fees of people who had not made the decision. Zara turned to him. "You said you know somebody in administration." He had mentioned it carelessly the night before. "A former supervisor," he said. "Can the person confirm where the incident form should go?" "Yes, not to." "Whale, no. There is an independent email." Zara gave him a long look. "You know many things for a new cleaner." "I read the staff handbook." "Nobody reads that handbook unless they wrote it or they are planning to sue somebody." Seyi smiled. Zara did not. He wrote the audit address on a piece of paper. "Send copies from outside the hotel network," he said. "Keep the original photographs. Record the date and time." She took the paper. "You sound less like a cleaner every day." His heart knocked once against his chest. Maybe cleaners can be educated. "That is not what I said." She folded the paper and placed it in her pocket. "I said you are hiding something." Seyi met her eyes. For one dangerous second, he nearly told her. Then Whale entered the room. "What are 3 people doing here during work hours?" Halima quickly covered the form. Whale saw the movement. "What is that?" "My medical paper," she said. "Give me." "It is not complete." "I said give me." Zara stood. "Sir, the safety officer requested a direct copy." Whale looked at her. "Which safety officer?" "The group incident channel." Something flickered in his face. Then it was gone. "You people think big English will save you. Halima, if you want this company to keep managing your case, stop allowing outsiders to put fire on your head." He turned to Zara. "And you, return to linen control. Your job is counting bed sheets, not counting my mistakes." As he left, Seyi noticed Whale take out his phone before he reached the corridor. The retaliation began before midnight. Zara's usual access to the linen inventory system stopped working. Her shift was changed from 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. into a split schedule that required her to report twice in one day. A deduction appeared on her payslip for a replacement uniform she had never requested. She filed a complaint. The complaint went back to Whale's office. He marked it resolved. When Zara saw the status, she laughed, not because it was funny, because sometimes anger needed somewhere to sit. "This is why people stop reporting," she told Seyi. "The snake is the same animal keeping the basket." They were in the linen office at 1:20 in the morning. Outside, washing machines rolled like distant thunder. Zara had an old laptop open on the desk. The left hinge was held with black tape. "What are you doing?" Seyi asked. "Checking whether I am mad." "That sounds serious. It is accounting." He pulled a chair closer. On the screen were 3 spreadsheets: staff rosters, laundry volume, contracted invoices. Zara pointed to a column. "The hotel pays the contractor based on headcount and shifts. Linen usage tells us how many rooms were actually turned over. It will not prove fraud by itself, but it can show when the numbers are impossible." She opened another sheet. "Look, January 12th. They invoiced 87 cleaners. The biometric register shows 73 active people. 14 names do not scan in or out. Could they be supervisors?" "Supervisors are billed separately." She clicked again. 3 names belong to people who left months ago. 1 relocated to Eilerin. Another died last year. Seyi sat back. "Are you sure?" "I attended the burial of the one who died." A coldness settled inside him. Zara opened payroll deductions. Pension is removed from 73 workers, but when Halima checked her statement, only 4 months were paid in the last year. Maybe delayed remittance. 12 months is not delay. It is hunger wearing a tie. She showed him duplicate uniform charges, unexplained disciplinary fees, and overtime records that disappeared after approval. The numbers were not dramatic in isolation. 2,000 here, 5,000 there, 1 missed contribution, 1 extra deduction. But multiplied across workers and months, the theft grew teeth. Seyi asked, "How did you get these records?" "They pass through linen control because our staffing level is linked to room occupancy. I did not break into anything. I copied the reports I am authorized to see." "Have you sent them?" "I emailed internal complaints 2 weeks ago." "And?" "Nothing." "Send them again through the independent channel." Zara looked at him. "You keep saying that." "Because the normal channel is compromised." "How do you know?" Seyi chose his words carefully. "Because every complaint returns to Whale." "That is an observation, not an answer." He looked at the screen. "Send the evidence, please." Zara watched him for another moment. Then she inserted a small black USB drive and copied the files. "I am keeping this outside the hotel," she said. "Good. And I am not giving it to you." "Also good." That earned the smallest smile. It disappeared quickly, but Seyi saw it. For the next 10 days, their friendship grew in spaces nobody important noticed. At the BRT stop after midnight. Over a kara wrapped in old paper. Inside the laundry room, while waiting for the final dryer. On a hospital bench during Halima's follow-up appointment. Zara spoke about returning to school. Seyi spoke about Cape Town, but removed every detail that pointed to wealth. He told her he had managed apartment properties. He did not say he had overseen investments worth hundreds of millions. She asked why he returned to Nigeria. "My father wanted me home." "You obey your father at 32. "Sometimes. Then he must have a strong voice." "He does. What does he do?" Seyi stared at the road. "Business." Zara laughed. "That answer is wearing sunglasses." He laughed too. At the time, the lie felt small. That was how dangerous lies often survived. They did not announce themselves as betrayal. They called themselves delay, protection, better timing. One night, rain trapped them beneath the awning outside the BRT terminal. Water beat the road so hard that passing headlights became silver smears. Zara held her food container beneath her blouse to keep it dry. Seyi removed his jacket and covered it. She looked at him. "You will get wet. I am already wet. You are not protecting me. You are protecting Stew. The stew has done nothing wrong." She laughed properly then. It changed her whole face. For several seconds, Seyi forgot the audit, the uniform, and the name he had shortened. He only knew that he wanted to hear that laugh again. Then Zara became serious. "You should know something." "What?" I do not like secretive men. His fingers tightened around the jacket. Why are you telling me? Because you are looking at me as if you want to say something. Seyi's throat went dry. Zara continued. My father was the kind of man who always had a reason for hiding the truth. He called it protecting the family. One day, we discovered he had another family in Abeokuta. I am sorry. Do not be. Just hear the lesson. I am hearing. A lie does not become kind because the liar says he had good intentions. Rainwater dripped from the edge of the awning. Seyi could have ended everything there. He could have told her his full name, his father's name, the purpose of the assignment and the truth about the hospital payment. Instead, he said, I understand. He did not. 2 mornings later, Marcus called him to the family house in Ikoyi. Seyi arrived through the back entrance before dawn, changed out of his uniform, and entered his father's study, wearing plain clothes. Marcus was already awake. On the desk lay the first audit packet. 400 relief bags invoiced, Marcus said. 100 delivered. 68 recovered after filming. Yes. Outsourced staff pension deductions not remitted. Yes. Unlabeled chemicals, failed alarm. Injury report altered. Yes. Marcus removed his glasses. How did's pass 3 audits? The audits sampled invoices and management controls. They did not interview workers privately. They did not compare biometric attendance with contractor billing. They inspected the storeroom after Whale had time to prepare it. Marcus looked older than he had 11 days earlier. Faith's Foundation submitted the relief bags. Seyi said nothing. Marcus leaned back. You are thinking about the marriage conversation. I am thinking about how she spoke to Halima when the camera went off. People can be impatient without being criminal. She ordered a cleaner to wipe a floor that was already clean because he questioned her. Marcus studied his son. The cleaner was you. That should not matter. No, it should not. The old man folded his hands. Have you found the woman you went there to find? Seyi's face revealed too much. Marcus sighed. Who is she? Zara Okoro, linen control. Does she know who you are? Not yet. Marcus' expression hardened. How close are you? We are friends. Only friends. Seyi did not answer immediately. Marcus stood. Tell her before her feelings become part of your experiment. It is not an experiment anymore. That does not make the beginning disappear. The investigation is active. If I reveal myself now, I could expose the audit. Then step away from her until the audit is complete. Seyi looked towards the window. Marcus came around the desk. My son, power does not only corrupt through cruelty. Sometimes power corrupts by convincing a man that his reasons are more important than another person's right to choose. Seyi left without answering. At 4:35 that afternoon, Faith arrived at the George family house for lunch. She wore a cream dress and carried a basket of fruit for Marcus. She asked about his health. She spoke warmly about expanding her foundation's worker dignity program. She described a new policy paper on labor inclusion. If Seyi had not seen her in the ballroom with Halima, he might have believed every word. Faith noticed his silence. You are unusually quiet, she said. I am listening. To what? The difference between how people speak upstairs and downstairs. Her smile paused. Marcus looked from one to the other. Faith lifted her glass. I am not sure I understand. Seyi held her gaze. You will. That night, Faith came to the hotel unexpectedly. She said she needed to inspect arrangements for the upcoming Hands That Serve Gala, where she would receive an award for humane leadership. At 9:08, she entered the service corridor and found Zara and Seyi sitting beside the linen office. They were sharing roasted groundnuts while waiting for a delivery count. Faith stopped. Her eyes moved between them. Seyi, she said. For one terrifying second, He thought she recognized him. Then she looked at his name badge. Yes, see David. He stood. Good evening, Ma. Faith turned to Zara. Why are you sitting during work hours? We are waiting for the laundry delivery, Ma. And eating? It is our break. Faith looked at the paper bag of groundnuts with open disgust. The smell is entering the corridor. There are no guests on this floor, Zara said. Faith's eyes sharpened. Your job is not to decide where guests may appear. She looked at Seyi again. So this is what is distracting you. Basement romance. Zara rose slowly. There is no distraction, Ma. Faith laughed. My sister, do not deceive yourself. A man who can only afford groundnuts is not a future. He is another bill. Seyi clenched his jaw. Zara said, a person's salary is not the full measurement of the person. Faith stepped closer. That is what poor women tell themselves before they produce poor children. The corridor went still. Seyi's hands curled at his sides. Zara touched his wrist once. Not to seek protection, to stop him. Then she faced Faith. You run a foundation about dignity, Ma. Yes, does the dignity begin only when the camera is recording? Faith's smile vanished. What did you say? Zara did not retreat. I asked why the same foundation that speaks about workers uses a contractor that has not paid some employees' pension contributions. Faith's pupils narrowed. Who told you that? The workers' statements. You have no authority to investigate my foundation. I am not investigating your foundation. I am asking about deductions from our salaries. Faith turned to Whale, who had entered behind her. Why is contract staff discussing confidential financial records? Whale's face went tight. I will handle it. Faith looked back at Zara. You should be careful. There are people who mistake access to company paper for importance. Zara's voice remained calm. And there are people who mistake public praise for innocence. Faith's mouth opened. Nothing came out for 1 full second. Then she pointed at Whale. Remove her from this corridor. Zara picked up her file herself. No need to touch me. She walked away. Faith turned to Seyi. And you, go and wash your hands. You smell like roasted poverty. Seyi stared at her. He had never wanted to reveal himself more. But he remembered Marcus's warning. He remembered the audit. And he let Faith walk away, believing she had spoken to a man beneath her. That decision would soon place Zara in greater danger than either of them understood. By the following afternoon, Zara's staff card no longer opened the linen office. She tried it twice. A red light blinked twice. Whale stood behind her. System issue, he said. Only my card? Do not flatter yourself. He handed her a printed memo. Effective immediately, she had been reassigned to manual inventory during the midnight shift. Her access to electronic records was suspended pending a routine data review. Zara read the page from top to bottom. No review date. It will finish when it finishes. No allegation. Are you begging for one? No appeal contact. Whale smiled. You like procedure. Enjoy this one. He walked away. Zara folded the memo carefully. Seyi had watched from the far end of the corridor. He came closer. Send a copy to the audit channel. She looked tired. I already did. Good. Stop saying good, as if you are my supervisor. I am trying to help. You keep trying to help from a place I cannot see. Seyi lowered his voice. What does that mean? It means my card stops working, and you know exactly which email to use. Halima's hospital bill disappears, and you are not surprised. You speak about audits like somebody who has attended them. I told you I worked in property management. You told me pieces. Zara. No. Listen. She stepped closer. I do not need you to be rich. I do not need you to be important. I need you to be honest. The corridor seemed to shrink around him, he said. There is something I have to tell you. Zara waited. A cleaner pushed a trolley past them. Somewhere below, a metal tray fell and rang against the floor. Seyi opened his mouth. Then his phone vibrated. A coded message from the audit chair appeared on the screen. Do not disclose. Ownership linked confirmed. Evidence preservation underway. Seyi stared at the words. What? Zara asked. He locked the phone. Not here. Her face changed. You were ready to speak until that message came. It concerns the investigation. What investigation? I cannot explain yet. Zara laughed softly. There was pain inside it. Then do not ask me to trust what you refuse to explain. She walked away. At 6:30 that evening, Seyi met the audit chair and an external forensic accountant in a rented office in Lekki Phase 1. The evidence covered one wall. Corporate registry extracts, bank transfer summaries, supplier invoices, attendance records, emails from Faith's foundation. The contractor, Service Axis Limited, was officially owned by Faith's maternal cousin. But a holding company linked to Faith controlled 40% of its beneficial interest through an investment vehicle registered 3 years earlier. Payments moved from Meridian Crest to Service Axis. From Service Axis, consultancy fees moved to a company controlled by Whale. A second stream moved to a media agency used by Faith's foundation. The foundation invoiced the hotel for 400 relief bags. Its supplier purchased 100. The same bags had appeared at 3 separate filmed events. Seyi read the numbers in silence. This is not only image management, he said. No, the accountant replied. It is suspected false invoicing, undeclared conflict of interest, and possible diversion of pension deductions. We still need lawful access to the full payroll server and contractor bank records. The audit chair placed another document in front of him. It was the contract renewal. Signed 6 months earlier. At the bottom was Marcus George's signature. Seyi stared at it. My father approved this, based on a management recommendation and social impact report, prepared by Faith and endorsed by Whale. Seyi pressed his palms against the table. He wanted to say Marcus had been deceived. That was true. It was not complete. Marcus had signed a contract affecting 73 workers without meeting one of them. He had accepted a polished report because the numbers looked orderly and the presenter belonged to his social circle. No bribe had entered his account. No stolen pension had paid for his house. Still, his signature had given the system oxygen. Seyi felt shock, then anger, then shame. The company he had defended across boardrooms had allowed workers to pay twice for uniforms they washed by hand. His father spoke proudly about family values, while outsourced staff ate on stairs. Seyi himself had entered the hotel to examine women, not to examine the system that fed his inheritance. The cleaner's uniforms suddenly felt less like a disguise. It felt like evidence. What happens next? He asked. We preserve records before the gala, the audit chair said. The board will authorize a formal investigation. Do not confront Faith or Whale. What about Zara? What about her? She is being targeted. Then document it. That is not enough. It may not feel enough, but if you reveal yourself too early, they can destroy evidence and claim you directed the entire process for personal reasons. Seyi looked at the wall. Her access has been removed, which protects some evidence from being blamed on her. We are imaging the relevant systems tonight, and if they dismiss her, we will intervene through counsel. Seyi stood. People keep saying intervention as if harm waits politely. The audit chair met his eyes. Now you understand why governance is not a speech. Marcus received the evidence packet at 9 that night. Seyi was present when he opened it. The old man read the contract signature page last. For a long time he said nothing. Then he removed his glasses and placed them on the desk. I signed it. Yes, I remember the meeting. Faith presented photographs. Whale showed reduced injury numbers. The contractor promised worker training. The injury numbers were reduced because reports were rewritten. Marcus's shoulders lowered. I asked no worker to confirm. Note, I visited the staff canteen last December. The direct staff canteen. Marcus looked up sharply. Seyi did not look away. The contract workers were moved before your visit. They were told the room was being fumigated. Marcus's face became still. Who told you? Halima. The old man turned towards the dark window. All these years, people stand when I enter. They clap. They show me what they have prepared for me to see. That is why leaders need systems that can speak without permission. Marcus gave a bitter smile. You have learned very quickly. Not quickly enough. He told his father about Zara, about her suspicion, about the rain, about the half-truths. Marcus listened. When Seyi finished, he said, "Tell her." The audit chair says, "I did not say, expose the evidence. Tell her who you are. If she reacts and Faith notices, then step away from her. But stop using the investigation to protect your comfort." Seyi rubbed his forehead. I wanted her to know me without the name. Marcus's voice was quiet. Did you know her without allowing her the same choice? Seyi had no answer. He returned to the hotel before midnight. Zara was not at the linen office. He found her in basement 3, counting damaged sheets beside a flickering tube light. Her laptop sat closed on a crate. I need to speak to you, he said. I am working. It cannot wait. She looked at him. Everything with you is either secret or urgent. He took a breath. My full name is. The basement door opened. Whale entered with 2 human resources officers and a security supervisor. Zara Okoro, he said. Step away from the company property. Zara's hands froze over the inventory sheet. What happened? You accessed confidential payroll information outside your role and transferred files to an external device. I copied reports assigned to my department. You are suspended pending investigation. One HR officer held out an envelope. Zara did not take it. On whose complaint? Management complaint. Which management? Whale smiled. The management that pays you. Seyi stepped forward. She reported suspected payroll fraud. Whale turned. Did anybody ask the cleaner? I witnessed retaliation after her report. Then perhaps you are involved. The security supervisor moved towards him. Whale raised one hand. Not yet. Let him carry mop while his girlfriend carries suspension. Zara took the envelope. She opened it and read, You are ordering me to return for the gala in 4 days to hand over physical records. Yes. Your contract requires full handover. If I am a data risk, why bring me back? For the first time, Whale's smile slipped. Follow the instruction. Zara folded the letter. I will return with a witness. You will return alone, or be charged for missing files. Seyi's voice hardened. You cannot threaten her with criminal charges to prevent a witness. Whale moved close enough for their shoulders almost to touch. Your uniform is giving you courage that your bank account cannot maintain. Be careful. Then he turned to Zara. Leave your access card. She placed it on the crate. Her hand remained steady. Only when they reached the service gate did Seyi see her shake. Rain had begun again, light but persistent. Zara stood beneath the loading bay roof with the suspension letter pressed against her chest. I was going to tell you, Seyi said. She looked at him. What? He could hear Marcus's voice. Tell her. He could hear the audit chair. Do not disclose. He chose badly. There are people looking into Whale, he said. You are not alone. Zara's eyes filled, but she did not cry. How do you know? I cannot tell you yet. Then stop telling me to trust shadows. Zara, please, no. She stepped into the rain. He followed. You should not go home alone. I have been going home alone long before you arrived with your secrets. I am trying to protect you. She stopped so suddenly that he nearly walked into her. From what? He said nothing. From Whale? From Faith? From the truth about you? Her voice broke on the final word. Seyi's stomach dropped. What do you know? I know a cleaner who earns 98,000 naira, does not speak to audit officers on coded calls. I know somebody paid Halima's bill after you said you would handle it. I know you read board language better than managers. I know you look at this hotel as if it belongs to somebody you love. A bus splashed water across the edge of the road. Zara wiped rain from her face. I do not know your name. But I know Seyi David is not the whole truth. He stepped closer. You are right. Then say the rest. His phone rang, Marcus. Seyi rejected the call. He looked at Zara. My surname is George. She stared at him. The rain seemed to grow louder. George? Yes, as in George Meridian? Yes, her lips parted. For a moment, anger disappeared beneath pure shock. Then it returned twice as strong. You are Chief Marcus George's son. Yes. And you entered this hotel pretending to be contract staff. It was an operational audit. That is not the whole reason. He could not lie again. No. What was the other reason? Seyi swallowed. I wanted to know whether somebody could care about me without knowing my family. Zara stepped back as if he had touched her. You came to test women. I did not target you. But you continued. After you met me, I was going to tell you. When? After I passed. No, after the gala, after I fell in love, after you decided my character was good enough. Zara, it stopped being a test. For you, her voice was barely above whisper. For me, my life was real from the first day. Seyi reached for her hand. She moved it away. Did you pay Halima's bill? Yes. You watched me ask for transparency and still hid it. I wanted her treated. A good outcome does not wash a dishonest method. I know that now. No, you know you have been caught now. The words hit harder than Whale's insults ever had. Zara looked towards the hotel towering behind them. People like you enter poor people's lives for lessons. Then you return upstairs with wisdom while we remain here with the consequences. I will not leave you with the consequences. You cannot decide that alone. She walked towards the bus stop. Seyi did not follow. For once, he understood that pursuing her would not be romantic. It would be another refusal to respect her boundary. The next 3 days moved quickly. The audit committee secured copies of the payroll server, procurement records, and corridor camera archives. External counsel prepared notices. Marcus informed 2 independent board members, but did not confront Faith or Whale. Zara stayed away from Seyi. She sent the USB drive directly to the audit committee through a lawyer recommended by Halima's union contact. She did not tell Seyi where she kept the original. Faith sensed danger. Her foundation's finance officer had received a document request. Whale informed her that Zara had copied payroll reports. Then he mentioned the new cleaner's unusual questions. Faith sat in her car outside the hotel and replayed every conversation. The cleaner's confidence, his accent, the way he had looked at her during lunch at the George house. She had not seen Seyi George clearly in years. His public photographs were old, and at the family lunch he had kept his distance. Still, a possibility entered her mind. She called Whale. Find out who that cleaner is. I checked, Seyi David George. The agency shortened his badge. Faith's fingers tightened around the phone. George? It is a common surname. No, it is not common inside that family. Silence. Whale understood. If he is who you think, then we cannot simply remove him. What do we do? Faith looked through the car window at the hotel's glass entrance. We destroy the witness beside him. The hands that serve gala would take place on Saturday evening. 312 guests were expected. Business leaders, journalists, labor advocates, politicians. The event would be streamed online. Faith was to receive the Humane Leadership Award. Whale proposed a theft. Not money. Money could be disputed. A personal item would create emotion. Faith removed a diamond bracelet from her wrist. It was insured for 28 million naira. Use this, she said. Whale looked at it. Madam, this is serious. So is prison. He took the bracelet. Their plan was simple. Zara had been ordered to return for handover. Seyi would be assigned to the gala service corridor. Whale would place the bracelet in his trolley after Zara signed the trolley seal. Then he would accuse them of working together. If Seyi was truly Marcus's son, Faith would call it an unfortunate misunderstanding and claim Whale acted alone. If he was only a cleaner, both of them would be arrested. Either way, Zara's evidence would become the work of a disgruntled thief. But they made one mistake. They believed cameras were useful only when powerful people controlled who watched them. Saturday arrived dressed in gold. By 5 p.m., the Meridian Crest ballroom had become a world of crystal, flowers, and soft music. Round tables stood beneath the chandeliers. Each place setting carried a card embossed with the words "dignity" in surface. Downstairs, contract workers were told not to use the guest toilets. At 5:37, Seyi reported in his teal uniform. He had not spoken to Zara since the night in the rain. The audit chair had advised him to remain in position until the evidence preservation order was complete. External counsel and 2 board members would attend the gala. Marcus would arrive after a private meeting in Ikoyi. Seyi hated every minute of the delay. He had entered the assignment believing he controlled the timing. Now, time controlled him. Whale met him beside the ballroom service door. "You will manage the west corridor," he said. "Do not enter the main hall unless called." Seyi nodded. Whale handed him a trolley with a sealed lower cabinet. "Zara will sign the transfer when she arrives." Why Zara? Because she was responsible for the previous inventory. She is suspended. Are you now human resources? Whale leaned closer. Tonight, know your level. Rich people are celebrating workers. Do not spoil it by behaving like one. Seyi looked at him steadily. I will remember that sentence. At 6:12, Zara entered through the service gate. She wore her mustard blouse and royal blue trousers, not the hotel uniform. A plain brown folder rested beneath her arm. Halima walked beside her, moving carefully, but standing straight. Whale blocked them. I instructed you to come alone. Zara held up the suspension letter. It says I must return company records. It does not say I must surrender the right to a witness. Halima is not a lawyer. She is a worker who saw what happened. Whale's eyes moved to the folder. What is inside? Copies of my handover list. Give it to me. I will give it to human resources in the presence of a witness. Whale's face darkened. Then he noticed 2 catering staff watching. He smiled. Fine. Sign the equipment transfer and wait downstairs. Zara approached the trolley. The lower cabinet was secured with a numbered plastic seal. She read the number aloud. MC731. Halima wrote it down. Zara checked the inventory sheet. Mop heads, microfiber cloths, glass cleaner, brass polish, refuse bags. She signed at 6:19 p.m. Whale signed after her. Seyi watched from 3 meters away. Their eyes met. Zara's face gave him nothing. Still, she did not look away. At 6:26, Whale used his MasterCard to enter the West Service corridor. The camera above the door recorded him. He crouched behind the trolley, cut the plastic seal with a small blade, and placed Faith's bracelet inside the cabinet beneath a packet of refuse bags. Then he fixed another seal of the same color. He believed the number would not matter. Poor workers, in his experience, rarely wrote numbers down. At 7, the ballroom doors opened. Guests entered wearing silk, velvet, and tailored suits. Camera flashes danced across the marble. Faith arrived in crimson, smiling beneath the banner of her foundation. She embraced Marcus's empty chair for the cameras, as if the man himself were already there. At 7:44, the master of ceremonies introduced her. "Tonight, we honor a woman whose work reminds us that service is not servitude and that every hand deserves dignity." Applause filled the hall. Downstairs, a cleaner was told to drink water from the laundry tap because the bottled water was for guests. Faith stepped onto the stage. "My father taught me that wealth is meaningful only when it lifts others," she began. Zara stood near the service entrance with Halima. Seyi remained beside the trolley. Whale checked his watch. At 7:51, Faith paused in the middle of her speech. Her hand flew to her wrist. "My bracelet." The room shifted. She looked beneath the lectern, then inside her evening bag. "My diamond bracelet is gone." Whale entered from the side. "Lock the service doors," he ordered. Guests began murmuring. Faith stepped down from the stage, her face arranged into shock. "I wore it when I entered this ballroom." Whale turned towards the workers. "Search all service equipment," Seyi said. "Call security management and preserve the area first." Whale pointed at him. "You do not give instructions." Two security men began opening cabinets. When they reached Seyi's trolley, Whale cut the seal himself. He moved one packet of refuse bags. The bracelet flashed beneath the lights. Faith screamed. "Thief!" Every face turned. Whale lifted the bracelet. "I found it in his trolley." Seyi did not move. "Check the seal number," he said. Whale ignored him. Faith crossed the floor in 4 sharp steps. "How dare you?" "This was planted," Seyi said. The slap came before anybody could breathe. It cracked through the ballroom like a gunshot. Seyi's face turned sideways. 300 guests went silent. Faith lifted the bracelet above the trolley. "This gutter rat came here to rob people whose shoes cost more than his entire bloodline." 2 security men seized Seyi's arms. Across the marble floor, Zara pushed through the crowd. "Check the cameras," she shouted. "That bracelet was planted." Faith spun around. "Of course you will defend him. Poverty always recognizes its relatives." "Release him until evidence is checked," Zara said. Faith pointed at the floor. "Kneel down, both of you, or I will make sure no hotel in Lagos employs you again." Zara stood beside Seyi. "I will not kneel for a lie." Whale held up the inventory sheet. "Your signature is here. You signed that the trolley was secure." "Yes," Zara said. "Seal MC 7319. Whale glanced at the cabinet. The replacement seal read MC 7391. His thumb moved over the number. Zara saw it. "So why is that a different seal?" A murmur traveled through the crowd. Faith's face tightened. "Do not distract us with numbers." The bracelet was inside. "Numbers are how truth survives powerful people," Zara replied. Whale stepped towards her. "You and this cleaner stole confidential files, now jewelry. You have turned poverty into a criminal partnership." Halima came forward. "I wrote the first seal number." Faith looked at her with disgust. "Who invited this coughing woman into my gala?" "The same hotel that damaged her lungs," Zara said. Faith's eyes blazed. "Enough, security, hold her too." One guard reached for Zara. Seyi pulled his arm against the men holding him. "Do not touch her." Faith laughed. "See the cleaner behaving like a king. My friend, your uniform is the highest position you will ever hold. Face the floor and beg before I send you to prison." Seyi's jaw tightened. But he did not beg. He only stared towards the entrance as the tall doors opened. Chief Marcus George walked in, wearing an ivory agbada and an emerald feeler. Beside him were the audit chair, 2 board members and external counsel. Marcus saw the hands gripping his son. His glass slipped. It shattered against the marble. Then he said, very quietly, "Remove your hands from my son." Nobody moved. Perhaps the sentence was too impossible to obey. Marcus took one step forward. I said, "Remove your hands from Seyi George." The guards released him at once. A woman near the front dropped her phone. The master of ceremonies lowered his microphone. Whale's face lost color so quickly that he looked ill. Faith stared at Seyi. "No," she whispered. Seyi straightened his uniform. His cheek carried the shape of her hand. Faith forced a laugh. "Chief, there has been a terrible misunderstanding. We found my bracelet in this man's trolley." "I did not know that he was rich?" Zara asked. Faith turned on her. "This is not your matter." Seyi's voice cut across the hall. "It became her matter when you accused her without evidence." Faith reached for him. "Seyi, please," Whale told me. He stepped back. "The greatest crime tonight is not that you accused a billionaire's son." The room held its breath. "It is that you believed a cleaner deserved no evidence before punishment." Applause did not come. The truth was too sharp for applause. Seyi turned to the security team. "Preserve the trolley. Do not allow anybody to touch the seal, cabinet, or bracelet." External counsel stepped forward. "The board has authorized an independent investigation. This ballroom and all service corridors are now evidence locations. Nobody is under arrest. Unless law enforcement determines grounds, nobody will be detained by private order." Whale began moving towards the side door. The audit chair called his name. "Mr. Johnson, remain available." "I need my medication. You may request it in the presence of security." Faith lifted her chin. "This is becoming ridiculous. A missing bracelet was found. Whatever other issues exist can be discussed privately." Marcus looked at her. "For years, that sentence has protected wrongdoing in rooms like this." The ballroom screens behind the stage came alive. The first image showed the service corridor at 6:26 p.m. Whale entered alone. The second angle showed him crouching beside the trolley. The footage did not clearly show the bracelet entering his hand, but it showed him cutting the seal and replacing it. Zara held up Halima's handwritten note. "Original seal MC 7319. The audit chair displayed a still image from the camera. The seal before Whale entered read MC 7319. The seal after he left read MC 7391. Whale's lips moved, no sound came. Faith said, "He acted without my knowledge." External counsel opened a document folder. "Miss Williams, the jewelry schedule sent from your assistant to Mr. Johnson at 4:38 p.m. identifies the bracelet by insurance number. The accompanying message states, 'Use the silver one. It is recognizable. We will allow investigators to determine context.'" Faith's face stiffened. "That message has been misinterpreted. Then you will have an opportunity to explain it through the proper process." The screen changed. Invoices appeared. 400 relief bags billed. 100 purchased. 68 returned to the van after filming. Then payroll records. 87 cleaners invoiced. 73 active. Pension deductions removed but not fully remitted. Duplicate uniform charges. Payments to Whale's consulting company. Beneficial ownership linking Faith to the contractor. The guests who had applauded her speech now watched in silence. Faith looked around the ballroom as if searching for one friendly face. People avoided her eyes. That was the cruelty of rented admiration. It disappeared when the cameras changed direction. Whale finally spoke. "Chief, I can explain the contractor fees." Marcus raised one hand. "You will explain them to the investigators." "Sir, I served this hotel for 12 years. And 73 workers served under conditions my reports told me did not exist." Marcus turned towards the ballroom. His own signature appeared on the screen. A murmur rose. Seyi watched his father. This was the moment Marcus could have blamed Whale, Faith, the contractor, or a failed compliance unit. Instead, he walked onto the stage. "The signature you see is mine. he said. The room became still. I did not receive money from this contract. I did not instruct anybody to steal pensions or replace safe chemicals with cheaper products. But I approved the renewal without speaking to the workers whose lives were being priced on those pages. He looked towards Halima. I visited this hotel and saw what management prepared for me. I did not ask what they had hidden. His voice lowered. That failure belongs to me, Faith whispered. Chief, you cannot say this publicly. Marcus turned to her. Public praise was acceptable to you. Public accountability must also be acceptable. Then he faced the guests again. There will be no Humane Leadership Award tonight. We have not earned the right to present one. A man at the front began to clap. Marcus raised his hand. Please, do not clap for an apology before the repair has started. The man stopped. Seyi looked at Zara. She was watching Marcus, not him. He understood. This reveal was not the end. It was only the removal of one mask. He walked to the stage in his cleaner's uniform. My father is not the only person who owes an apology, he said. Zara's eyes lifted. Seyi took a breath. I entered this hotel with the approval of the audit committee. But my motive was not entirely professional. I was tired of relationships shaped by my family's wealth. I believed that by hiding my identity, I could test who had a good heart. A few guests shifted uncomfortably. Seyi continued. That belief was arrogant. I treated people as if I had the right to examine them without giving them the truth they needed to examine me. He looked directly at Zara. She warned me that human beings are not questions on paper. I heard her. I still continued. The hall seemed to fall away. I told myself I was protecting an investigation. Sometimes I was. Sometimes I was protecting myself from the consequence of honesty. Zara's face remained steady, but her eyes shone. Seyi stepped down from the stage and stopped several feet from her. I am sorry. He did not reach for her. He did not kneel. He did not place a ring before a crowd and trap her inside a romantic spectacle. He simply waited. Zara looked at him for a long time. Then she said, You found the truth about this hotel. Her voice was calm. Now you must prove you can live truthfully outside it. Seyi nodded. That is fair. No, it is necessary. She turned towards Halima. The gala ended without music. Faith and Whale were escorted to separate waiting rooms, not as convicted criminals, but to preserve evidence and take formal statements. The bracelet remained sealed. The police and relevant financial investigators were notified. The board placed both of them on immediate suspension pending investigation. Outside, journalists gathered beneath the hotel canopy. Inside, the workers remained in the ballroom. For the first time, nobody asked them to stand behind a wealthy person for a photograph. Marcus asked them to sit at the guest tables. Some hesitated. Halima looked at the white tablecloths. Are we allowed? Marcus's face tightened with shame. You should never have needed permission. The repair began on Monday, not with a donation, with records. An independent payroll team reviewed 36 months of wages, overtime, deductions, and pension remittances. Every worker received a written statement explaining what was owed and how it had been calculated. Disputed amounts went to an external labor advisor rather than Wales department. The total initial arrears exceeded 41 million naira. George Meridian Group paid the confirmed amounts into individual accounts, then pursued recovery from the contractor through legal channels. Workers were not told to wait for the lawsuit before receiving what they had earned. Halima's medical expenses were covered in full. She received paid recovery leave and an independent respiratory assessment. The laundry room closed for 9 days, while engineers repaired ventilation, replaced the alarm, and removed every unlabeled chemical. New procedures required supplier labels, safety data sheets, locked chemical storage, and documented training before any worker handled concentrated products. Nobody was charged for gloves. Nobody was charged twice for a uniform. The separate canteen rule ended immediately. That change looked small on paper. It did not feel small when Halima carried her lunch into the cooled room for the first time. She paused at the door. A permanent employee shifted his bag from the empty chair beside him. "You can sit here, Ma." Halima smiled. "I have been working in this building for 7 years. Today is the first day somebody asked me to sit." She sat. The room remained standing inside her for a long time. The contractor agreement was terminated according to its legal provisions. George Meridian announced a phased conversion of long-serving outsourced roles into direct employment, beginning with positions that performed continuous core functions. The company did not promise that all 73 workers would become permanent overnight. That would have been another beautiful speech without a system beneath it. Instead, it published criteria, dates, salary bands, and an appeal process. A worker representative joined the safety committee. Complaints could be filed through an external provider. Managers no longer received complaints made against their own departments. All major suppliers had to disclose beneficial owners and conflicts of interest. Every quarter, the board would review anonymized worker complaints alongside financial results. Marcus attended the first meeting. This time, the workers chose who spoke. Zara did not return to her old position. The board offered her a role as worker welfare and compliance officer. She refused the first offer. Seyi heard about it from human resources and went to see her at a small cafe near Yaba. She was studying beside a cup of tea. "You refused," he said. Zara did not close her book. "The position was handed to me because of the scandal." "You are qualified. That should be proved through a process, not declared by the owner's son." "I did not declare anything. You came here 5 minutes after hearing the news." He sat opposite her. "I came to ask why." "You already know why." Seyi nodded. The old version of him would have tried to persuade her. He would have listed the salary, authority, and career opportunity. He would have believed refusal was a problem he could solve. Instead, he asked, what would make the process fair? Zara looked up. Advertise the role. Use an independent interview panel. Set qualifications. Allow internal and external candidates. If I win, I win. If I do not, I continue my course. And reporting line. Not to you. Agreed. You do not have the authority to agree on the spot. Seyi smiled. You are right. For the first time since the rain, she almost smiled back. The role was advertised. 38 people applied. Zara completed 2 written assessments and 3 interviews. She was asked about evidence handling, workplace retaliation, grievance design, and chemical safety reporting. She did not receive the highest score in every category. She received the highest overall score. When the panel selected her, the report recorded each reason. Zara accepted. She reported to the group ethics director and had no direct reporting relationship with Seyi. Their personal relationship remained uncertain. For 6 months, Seyi did not send flowers to her office. He did not buy her a car. He did not use gifts to turn guilt into romance. He attended worker meetings where people criticized his family company to his face. He published quarterly repair updates. He removed himself from decisions affecting Zara's pay or promotion. He told the truth even when it made him look smaller. Once, during a staff forum, a worker asked why he had pretended to be poor. Seyi answered, "Because I believed wealth made me the judge of other people's motives." I was wrong. The answer circulated online. Some praised him, some mocked him. He did not ask public relations to remove the criticism. Zara noticed. Trust did not return like electricity after a power cut. It returned like dawn, slowly, first as a thin line, then enough light to recognize a face. They began speaking outside work again. At first, only about Halima's case and the compliance program. Later, about books, Lagos traffic, and Zara's final accounting examinations. Seyi told her everything he had hidden. The failed relationships, the fear of being used, the kidnapping attempt that had kept his photographs away from the press, the arrogance beneath his disguise. Zara did not excuse him. She also did not freeze him forever inside his worst decision. One evening, after she passed her professional examination, they bought akara from the same roadside seller they had visited during his assignment. Seyi reached for his wallet. Zara stopped him. "I am paying today. You just became professionally certified. Allow me to celebrate you." "My celebration. My akara." He raised both hands. "Yes, ma." She laughed. That laugh no longer felt borrowed. 1 year after the gala, Seyi asked Zara to meet him at the BRT terminal, where rain had once broken the truth between them. He arrived without a convoy. Not because he was pretending to be poor. Because he was no longer performing a lesson. Zara came after work wearing a burnt orange blouse and dark blue trousers. The evening traffic moved behind her. Hawkers called out. A bus conductor shouted a destination. Lagos continued unconcerned with whether a billionaire's son had learned humility. Seyi held no camera-ready flowers. He carried a small ring box, but he kept it in his pocket. "I once stood here and asked you to trust what I refused to explain," he said. Zara folded her arms. "I remember. I disguised myself because I wanted to know who could love me without my name." He paused. "You taught me that the better question was whether I could become a man worthy of honest love." Zara watched him. "Do you still believe women must pass a test before they deserve you?" "No." "Why?" "Because love is not an examination. Trust is something two people build with the truth." She looked towards the road. A BRT bus pulled in, released passengers and moved away. Seyi waited. He did not rush the silence. Finally, Zara turned back. "Show me the ring." His hand shook slightly as he brought out the box. She noticed. "So, billionaires are afraid too, especially when the woman can say no. That is called respecting reality." "Yes, ma." He opened the box. The ring was elegant, not enormous. Seyi asked, "Zara Okoro, will you marry me?" She looked at the ring, then at him. "Yes." He released a breath that sounded like a man returning from deep water. Zara lifted one finger, but no secret wedding plan, no surprise mansion, no newspaper announcement before my mother knows. Seyi nodded quickly. "Full disclosure. Documented. With witnesses." "Now you are learning." They laughed beneath the terminal lights while Lagos hurried around them. Faith and Wales cases continued through the proper legal process. Some allegations were contested, records were examined, lawyers argued. Restitution claims moved separately from criminal questions. The story did not need an instant prison sentence to prove that consequences had begun. Faith lost control of her foundation after its board commissioned an independent review. The staged relief program was suspended. Donors demanded audited accounts. Her public image, once built on carefully arranged workers standing behind her, could no longer hide the workers' own testimony. Wales' employment ended after disciplinary findings confirmed serious misconduct. Regulatory and law enforcement inquiries continued into the financial evidence. Neither of them was punished because Seyi was a billionaire's son. They were held accountable because records, witnesses, and procedures survived their attempt to erase the truth. That distinction mattered. And Marcus changed too. He began visiting service areas without advance notice. But he soon learned that surprise visits were not enough. A leader could not build accountability around his personal presence. So she strengthened systems that worked when he was absent. Anonymous reporting, independent review, worker representation, published remedies. He stopped asking managers whether staff were happy. He asked workers what happened after they complained. The difference changed the answers. To me, the most disturbing part of what happened at Meridian Crest was not the missing money or even the planted bracelet. It was how easily respectable people accepted that a cleaner could be condemned without evidence. A uniform can hide wealth. It can also hide suffering. But it should never hide a person's right to dignity. We often say character is revealed by how people treat those beneath them. Perhaps the deeper truth is that nobody is beneath us. There are only people whose jobs, salaries, or clothes make society forget their names. Kindness matters, but kindness without fair systems can disappear when a kind person leaves the room. Charity matters, but charity cannot replace wages, safety, pensions, and the right to speak without retaliation. And love matters. But love cannot grow properly where one person controls the truth, and the other person is being tested without consent. Procedures and workplace remedies may differ from one organization to another. Yet the principle remains simple. Respect should not wait until a cleaner is revealed as a billionaire's son. It should have been there when everybody believed he was only a cleaner.